Hello, and welcome to our February 2015 Virtual Publisher Tips and Tricks webinar. Today we're going to cover a few things that are new. One is a feature that's also available in Send My Ad, but we're going to talk about how it applies here in Virtual Publisher, and that's the user customizable info display. We're going to talk about a new position tag that we think you'll find useful if your publications use things like coupons. And a very quick mention of a feature that is not immediately obvious it's there, but a new thing where you can drag and drop signatures to reorganize them. So that's one of those things that unless someone points it out to you, you may not know has been added. A couple housekeeping items. Your GoToWebinar software client should have a zoom button to let you expand your screen. I have a fairly large monitor, so you may want to do that to see everything. And if you have any questions, please, you can type those into the GoToWebinar software, and we'll answer those at the end. Or if it's something really imperative, we'll jump in and take care of it while we're doing the demo. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, well, one of the features we've had for quite some time has been the ability to customize your metadata display. And what I mean by that is, let's take a look at a story. Okay, and we have, if we look at our file details, we have a information tag up here, and this information section is something that is customizable, and it comes from your publisher setup. So let's take a look at where that goes. This also applies to ads, and so if you have any ads in the publication, you'll see that display as well. So you can see when I look at an ad file, I have also the same information thing. And that's configured under your company profile. If you look, it's broken out by the types of ads and files. So for instance, you have print ad settings, you have digital ads, and you have editorial pages when you have Virtual Publisher. So looking at editorial page, if we go to manage custom metadata options, you can see that we have this headline option here. Okay, and we can add different things. We can create both our own brand new custom things that only we see as a publisher, so something that's very specific to your workflow. Or we can have ones like the headline, where maybe we call it something slightly different, or maybe you abbreviate it, or however you want to handle that. And then what that does is, as you saw before, it pulls that information out, and it lets you see that at a higher level. Okay, so you'll see it up here. Now, what's new is we have this little widget up here, and if you click it, you'll see Manage Custom Details View. And you can see that I, as a user, have added my own customization here. Now let's remove it. And you'll see that what I get is I get information that's coming from me as a publisher. Okay, I'm not getting my own custom thing, and that's what this new feature does. It lets you assign your own information here, and lets you give it its own name, You can change the order that it appears. Okay, so the idea here is that you as a user can override what your publisher, what your company settings are. So it may be that based on my own particular role in the company, I really need to know the materials ID, and maybe that's not as important for other people in the company. So it lets me override those things, and this only applies to me. So other users that log in, unless they've configured their own setting there, they're going to be able to see the company settings. So it's a good way for me to customize my workflow, make the information that's most important to me available at a glance. Now again, these are configured at based on the type of file that they are. So when I go to print ad settings, there's a corresponding manage custom metadata options here. And you can see that I have quite a few things that are available there for a print ad. And in this case, I've overridden those with my own items again. But let's remove those. And when I do that, you'll see that I now get my company level information. Okay. So it's really a great way for you to handle that information that's important to you, but keep in mind that you can do it selectively. You can do it based on what type of files you're looking at. So in Virtual Publisher, of course, we're talking about pages, and we're talking about the ads. Okay, and that is all configured in this section. As I said before, the custom metadata has been around for quite a while. What's new is this ability to do it at the user level, and it's not very obvious from here. You have to know to go to that widget and click there, and that's where you can configure it. Okay, so let's go on to our next topic, which is the opposite page match position tag rule. So this is something that we've added very recently, and position tags are something that you're probably familiar with. So if you click here and go to your publication, you may know you go under Actions to manage ad position tags. And I've got a bunch in here. There's different ones that you can use, or you can add your own. And the key thing here that we're talking about are placement rules. Okay. So we have various options here that we can you can configure, and you can configure, and for instance, if you select competitive distance, it gives you an option. So the options change depending on what you select here. So the new one is called tags on opposite page match. And the use case for that is typically a coupon. So I've got one set up here now. And let's show how that works. So let's go to our book plan. And I have here 2 coupons. And if I look at the reservation, you'll see position tags. And I've got coupon selected. Now what this does is if I drag my first coupon here, it places it. And if I try to place next to it, it should warn me, here we go, that we can't place them on backing pages because the opposite page already has an ad with that same one. So we're trying to prevent coupons from being clipped on both sides of a printed page. Okay, so it warns you about that and it prevents you from accidentally placing those. So this is something that we hope is useful for you. It just simply requires tagging with our coupon position tag and then using that placement rule. Okay, our last feature to highlight today is what we see in Edit Plan Details. And if we go to Signatures, here I'm sure you're very aware of how to make and customize your own signatures. So you can highlight any of the signatures, and you can delete them, and you can combine them, you can split them. So all those things that you're used to doing. But something that you haven't seen before is being able to drag and drop those signatures, and it will reorder them for you. So it's something that you'd never probably know unless someone showed you, because there's no note here. But it's an easy way to quickly reorganize those signatures if you need to. Keep in mind that signatures are kind of just a layer of information that sits on top of your plan. So there's no problem at all to do something like this where we select all of our signatures and just remove them all and then create a new signature plan. So let's say I wanted 16-page signatures instead of 32. It's very, very trivial to redo that. And once it's done, you again then can reorganize those if you wish. But if you find yourself doing a lot of reorganizing, you may just keep in mind that it's really easy to delete the setup and create a brand new one if you need to. Okay, if we have any questions, now's a good time to answer those. There's one that comes up with the metadata that I showed you earlier, and that's if you want to see the publisher information along with your own custom stuff. And the answer there is that when you create your own custom one, your own custom setup, it does override what you see in the panel. Okay, so if you want to pull in the stuff that the publisher has, then what you should do is in your own custom setup, then what you would want to do is duplicate this information. So what I mean by that is if you really wanted all this stuff, then you would go to Manage Custom Details view, and one by one, you'd need to, for instance, say that you want the string field and give that a label. Okay, and then you duplicate all of those and then add your own custom ones. Okay, so right now there's not a composite feature. That maybe that's something we need to look at adding. But what you add as a user then overrides the others that come from your company level. And another question about this is this information, is it something that can be put in reports? And the answer is yes and no. I mean, you'll see that in my field map information, I can pull a bunch of stuff that's predefined, but things like weather, that's kind of a random, silly example, but it's a custom thing that I'd find at the publisher level. Okay. What I'm not able to do as a user here is create my own brand new custom field. Okay, that has to be done at the publisher level. So I can change what they're named. I can use one of the existing ones, but the information that's available to me as a user is something that that stuff can be in the custom reports. You can, in the various reports, give you abilities to customize the fields. The views can be customized to show your custom fields. And that stuff can go out in the reports. But it's something that really is kind of controlled at the company level, and then the user chooses what to make visible. Okay, well, I think that that wraps us up for today. So thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoy these quick little training webinars. And if there are topics that you'd like to see covered next month, please let us know at support, or let your sales rep know. We want to cover topics that are of interest to you. So please let us know what you think. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.